In modern day, with the coming in of AI and other tools, as it were, it makes the playground not as level, and the value of humans not as it were back in the 19th century. This modern day and era provides a situation where not only do you have to get that degree or a paper, you have to be innovative in that specific field. Ladies and gentlemen, let me not stress much on this issue, but rather allow me to call upon our speaker for today, who help us understand more about our topic of discussion today, which states, and I quote, how the A+ community can prepare for the secure job market, for the scarce job market through connectivity, creativity, and innovation. Let me be quick to clear the airways. I once got a question with regards to the A+ Foundation. The A+ Foundation, the name itself does not mean getting A+ in academics only. Not entirely. Majority of the discussions that we've had, for those that have followed us, will have pertained to real life situations, be it our relationships, be it our careers, be it our academics, and now be it society and innovativeness. So it's a foundation that encompasses everything above and beyond, everything relating to life. So the A+ only highlights perfection and not entirely academic perfection. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, allow me to bring to you Dr. Cartwright Libanda, Jr.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Thank you for the opening remarks. Thank you to the moderator. And yes, as introduced, my name is Cartwright Libanda Jr. Yes, you can add the title of doctor. Before I proceed, I just want clarity, confirmation whether I'm audible enough.
You're audible enough, you're loud and clear.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. So I believe that I have about 30 minutes to make my presentation, and I talk a lot, but I always keep time. So we have, I'm sure, some time to interact later on. I must make my first apology that, excuse me, I will not be able to switch on my camera. Actually, this is just because to my device, the device I'm using currently, the camera is not so clear, so it will be so blurry. However, we proceed. So thank you so much to the leadership of A+ Foundation for honoring me with this invitation to be speaking to you. I do not take it lightly, and I do not consider myself in any position of being better than you guys, but I believe that we are sharpening one another. I may have gone ahead of you in some things, but I know that from you I can also learn. Hence, I'm taking this time to share what I know, what I believe you can also be inspired from, you can also learn from, and also be able to implement in your life, so that together we can achieve actually the goals of A+ Foundation. I was privileged to learn some of the pillars that the foundation is based on, and I'm so amazed that young people can be this innovative and this ambitious to become better. Otherwise, it gives me hope for the future. It gives me hope for the next generation. So as we dive into the topic, there is something critical that I learned, and you see, you are going to listen to me if you know me. I believe that there are quite a number of people who may not have an idea who Cartwright is, this guy with a strange name, but
as earlier introduced, Dr. Cartwright Libanda. I'm a medical doctor by profession, besides being a project manager trained under Global Change Makers. So I recently graduated, and I have been involved in quite a number of things, part of which is that something which is critical. I'm unapologetically a Christian, and I'm sure even as we interact, you realize that I'll make reference to the Word of God. On that one, you have to forgive me if you are not comfortable with that. Another issue is that I am a personal development expert. I in I rejoice in seeing people develop in all faculties of their lives, in all their facets. I rejoice when people develop, and that is my goal. In many things that I do, I am so focused that I can help people develop. So, the topic that we are discussing this evening is quite critical. It's a very, very important topic that most of the times we think it can happen through being gifted. But then this aspect of being innovative, being creative, and connectivity can actually be learned and not necessarily born with that kind of wisdom where you are just naturally creative. Yeah, there are people who are gifted in that way, but then there is the aspect of learning. Okay, so we are going to proceed in this way. So we are talking about this job market, and we are saying that it's very scarce. So there is this thing usually in my community, and when I say my community, I mean a lot of young people and a lot of Zambians, not only Zambians, a lot of Africans as well. We are based on so much rumors, just hearsay. So we are saying this evening, we are saying there is a scarce job market. If there is anyone who can respond to this, don't raise your hand or respond anyway, but I want you to respond in your heart. Do you know the unemployment rate in Zambia? Or rather, the people who organize this topic, who told you that there is a scarce employment market or job market? So there is this aspect where we base on hearsay. No, HH is not working. What hasn't he done? You can't tell. No, HH is working. What has he done? You can't tell. So there is so much hearsay, even among educated people, even among people who took civic education. We are not focused on evidence-based knowledge. So if you go and Google, you will actually realize that the current statistics, which are not proven, they show that the employment rate, the unemployment rates in Zambia are around 6 to 7%, which is not so validated because we have to follow statistics from Zambia Statistics Agency, ZAS, and they are telling us from their previous research, which is the official one, which is the 2021, it actually shows us that the unemployment rate is around 13.8% in Zambia. That is a very, very huge number. So from there, we understand that there is a problem with the job market. There is an issue with unemployment. And among these, with this unemployment rate, there is a huge percentage which affects us, the young people who are the youth. So this is a critical thing that we are in. And besides that, when we say that 13.8%, you may think, okay, 13.8, not so huge a number, or maybe when you Google, they may validate soon, which says that there is the unemployment rate is around 6 to 7%. You may think it is a small number. But listen to me, when they say unemployment rate, they actually mean people who have the skill people who have the knowledge, people who have the ability to work, but they literally don't have anyone to employ them, to give them a job. Not a permanent job, even just ordinary short contract based, which we usually refer to as piecework. Literally nothing. Those who are doing short work, piecework, are actually being counted amongst the employed. So you can see how drastic this is. So then there is this case market. You may be in university, you may have graduated, you may be actually in secondary school, and you have what I like, what my colleague Kalenga just said about the Zambian dream, go to school and get a job. And some of us here, I believe over 70% of us here are still living that dream to say, I'm going to get educated and I'm going to get a job, and life goes on like that. Like a cycle which we have always encountered from generations immemorial. But that is not the reality. I have seen memes on social media where people have been sharing that they were being told to say, no, with this course, with this program, NGOs will be fighting for you, employers will be fighting for you, which is not true. Which is not true. But I want to let you know that there is a place where employers will fight for you, which is true. I'll touch that later. Okay. So there we have established that there is indeed a scarce market. How do we prepare for that? And I'm glad that the topic even directs us that we have to be creative. We must connect. We must be innovative. How do we become creative? How do we become innovative? How do we connect? Who do we connect to? Those are critical questions that we should ask ourselves. Okay, so preparation for the future is based on principles. You see, there is this notion we carry that a lot of people carry of where they say the future, where they predict or think that the future is a better place. But I want to let you know that the future is nothing but a consequence of the decisions that we are making today. The decisions that we are making today, actually, that is what makes the future. But as a believer, I'm telling you that the future is a consequence of the grace of God and the decisions that we are making today. So it's not like, oh, because maybe in 2026 there will be elections or I'll be employed. What? It is about the decisions we are making today. For example, you have decided, I must believe that I'm talking to, most of the people that I'm talking to are in university, in college, or maybe recently graduated, or maybe planning to go into college. So the decision you made to go to school, it has a consequence on your future. And that consequence is giving you an upper hand to be employed compared to someone who has refused to go to school, or someone due to different circumstances has failed to be in school so that they can be trained. So that is what the future is. So even as we prepare for that time that we are going to be out of school, that time that we are going to need to start families, we must realize that we are going to live in a space that we created by the decisions we are making today. For example, even the decision you've made to spare your time and listen to this conversation, this decision that you've made will also contribute to how your future is. The future is funny. If today you decide, I want to be playing, if today you decide not to condomize, trust me, you're going to spend your future on dealing with STIs. You are going to spend your future dealing with hospital issues. That is just a fact. But if you decide to condomize or you decide to abstain today, meaning your future has already been shaped in a way that you won't have to be dealing with hospital issues. So I hope we understand now that the future is a consequence of the decisions that we are making today. Now, since we have already established that there is a scarce job market, we've also establish that the decisions we are making today are going to guide us. I also want to establish within us that there is this thing that we call principles. So, principles guide us. Principles help us to make right choices. Principles actually help us to shape our future because they shape our choices, they shape our decisions. So, I also believe that a number of people I'm talking to today must be Christians, looking at the population of Christians, of course, in our country. So you see, there is this aspect of spirituality, especially among the charismatic, the Pentecostals, where you believe that you can pray your way to a job, you can pray your way to employment, you can pray your way into business and the like. But principles were designed by God. So God cannot neglect principles. I want to share with you something critical that I learned from the Bible. So we all know that Moses was a prophet, right? Was a prophet a prophet who was assigned by God to lead the Israelites out of captivity to the promised land. Moses used to spend days. He actually spent 40 days on a mountain with God, starting with God physically. That is how deep he was with God. But listen what happened. So after the Israelites had left Egypt, they were now in the wilderness on their pilgrim going to the promised land. There comes what used to happen is that Moses was also a judge among them. So there used to be some days which were assigned for him to judge. He would sit, people would bring cases, where they have community quarrels, individual quarrels, and he would preside over such issues, land issues, marital issues, and the like. So Moses was a judge, and he were a lot. He will be presiding. So the father-in-law to Moses, he visited Moses to bring the wife and the kid. So when he reached, he was welcomed by Moses. They spent, of course, his work of judging. So the father-in-law realized that the entire day Moses was busy judging. Then he called him and gave him an advice. And you see, Jethro was not a prophet. The spent days with God. And Jethro now told Moses to say, this thing you are doing, you are going to burn out, you are going to wear out. How do you spend the entire day judging this many people? What you have to do is that, can you select leaders, judges, who will be judges of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, of tens, such that when a matter has not been solved by these people, then it can be brought to you. That was a principle, colleague. You see, so this prophet was so spiritual, but because he did not follow some principles of leadership, he would have been stressed to death. That is just the reality. Moses would have been stressed to death. But then somebody who knew a Jethro, one who never spent 40 days with God, just like Moses used to do, came and gave him a principle, which was very helpful. So there is this aspect of principles. So there are principles that are going to guide us for us to reach that scarce job market, to are we together so far? Okay, awesome. All right. In case law or anything, please, Jack, you are free to let me know. I proceed. So I also want to let you know that this scarce market, since we've already established that yes, it is there. Back in the day, it used to happen that as medical students, you are in your final year. You already know which hospital you are going to work from. That is not the case. People have now stayed 3 years medical doctors without employment, without a job. And trust that because you cannot work in the private sector, you cannot practice medicine in the private sector. Why? Because you need to do your internship RMO thing. You have to do it with a government institution. No matter how much connections you have with these privates, you still have to work for the government at least for that first 2 years before you go anywhere else. So it is that bad. So how do we certain aspects that we have to follow? First things first, we have to be creative. Just like we have, and we have to connect. Those are the principles. Okay, for that market. So how do we become creative? So I'll be quick on these things. You see, these are very powerful words that actually. I'm glad that the leaders of this team were bold enough to put creativity and innovation in one statement. You see, innovation, that is, you are at a place where you are bringing in new things. That if you were selling, that is what, let me give a practical example. Perhaps you used to make, you used to make fritters for selling. Then you say, okay, usually fritters are regular, round, they say, the shape. Then you say, oh, kids, like gherkins. You start making fritters in form of a star. You start making fritters in form of those donuts that they sell in Pick and Pay, or where it's round. Yeah, you get what I mean. So that is what innovation is. So innovation is bringing up something which is new in the picture. Creativity is a whole different thing. Not so different otherwise, but it also originates from the mind. So creativity, that is where you are at a place whereby you are able to actualize your imagination. So if we become creative, you actually for that scarce market. If we connecting to, you see, for example, if you know each other, the people that are on this call, if you were to take a moment and start scrolling through each other's, not to mention names, but you find maybe you were with this artist who just insults in their songs. They call them a gangster, and when you meet them, you are all happy. Oh, this is a celebrity, and like you take photos. Okay, that's cool. You meet these, you see these celebrities that we have, and you are there happy. I met this person. You even take a photo, and for numbers or what. As an employer, this time around we check social media handles. So when we look at this person, oh, this one has been associated with the such a person. So the character should be like that. So we have to be careful, very, very careful. I've taken a lot of photos with different people, but I'm very careful not to post anyhow, because perhaps I don't know the character of that person, how that person is known in society, or even when I know, I analyze. So the people that you have to connect you, people that are going to motivate you, people that are going to recommend you for certain things. For example, I'll give you an example. I had my first job when I was 8 years. I was lecturing at a college. And do you know who recommended me? The dean. The dean himself. He wrote a letter of recommendation saying, these students A, B, C, D. And I got my first job as a part-time lecturer. So people would wonder, oh, why does this guy seem busy? Because I had a job. I was lecturing while I'm in fifth year, and I was recommended. Why? Because of how I have connected with my dean, not because of my student political position. No, away from that, but because of my interaction, never recommended by the dean. You see what I'm talking about? So it is how you connect and who you connect to. You see the people that are on this call, you can actually tell. It is actually easy to say that, okay, perhaps these are people who are serious with life, people who want to better themselves. These are people I should start connecting to and start establishing friendship. And let's go drink, let's go hang out with such a girl or such a guy. Things that will not profit me in any way. So those are the people that we should connect to. So creativity and innovation calls for skills. What skills are you bringing to yourself? What skills are you acquiring? I've just given you an example that I started lecturing when I was in fifth year. This is because I had already in methodologies. I could already project the future. Say, okay, I'm getting a degree in medicine and surgery. I love academics. I would want to lecture. By fifth year, I had my teaching methodologies certificate. By fifth year, I had my diploma in project management. So even NGOs, when they come, when we want to do projects with NGOs, they look at somebody with capabilities to manage a project. And who is that person? That person is me, who has attained a certificate in project management. So you have to develop your CV and you also have to develop your skills. I got my driving license, I think that was fourth year or fifth year, with no hope that I'm ever going to have a car. But I just wanted to be ready for that time when a car comes. Yeah, and I should give this example as we are talking about skills. I am passionate when I talk about skills because this is one critical thing that is disadvantaging a lot of people in the on the job market. So here is a company in Lusaka. I won't mention it, but somewhere between 2010 and 2015, they made this pronouncement because all their their branch managers had a driver, were being given cars and a driver. So what they said, all licenses. You see? So managers acquired driving licenses and they said all the drivers now, since the managers have acquired their driving licenses, no manager will be driven, they will start driving themselves. Now, what do you think happened to the drivers? They are no longer needed at this point. So the company was compassionate enough. So they said all the drivers should submit their CVs and they will be redirected to other departments in the company. And trust me, a lot of drivers lost their jobs because their only skill was driving. But there are some of the drivers who had done some secretarial course. There are some of the drivers who had some trade certificate in something, and they were redirected in the company, in that very company. But most of the drivers who just depended, come heaven, come sunshine, on their driving licenses, they lost their jobs. Kalinga talked about AI. You see, this time around, artificial intelligence is something that is vast. Even in medicine, in surgery, almost everywhere, artificial intelligence has come in. And people are becoming irrelevant. How are you going to maintain your relevance? By acquiring certain skills. Somebody was actually saying, when I look at your CV, some of you still put Microsoft Word as a skill. No! Peter, this time around, everyone, literally everyone, must know how to use Microsoft. Everyone should know. The things that you should add to your CV are things like web development, graphic designing, such skills. Those are the things that you should add to your CV, and those are the things that companies are looking for. For example, if they want to employ you in a particular department, Companies don't want to employ 3 people for a small job, three different people for 3 different small jobs. They want one person who is able to do those 3 things. So you must be able to market yourself with those skills. You must be able to differentiate yourself for that future. Okay. So I also want to give you this experience, something that really amazed me. So I had this phobia with small planes, the small aircraft. I've never been on a helicopter before. I wish I will be on one soon. But it so happened that the first time I was on a plane, it was a big one, which is the Boeing 737. And when you are on that Boeing 737, even when it's turning, you don't feel it. When it's lifting, you are all comfortable. Not that you are in first class, just in economy. I've never been on first class. So it was kind of comfortable for me until my first time that I had to get on a small aircraft. That was Proflight. So I realized, but I had heard from people their experiences with small aircraft. As it is lifting, I don't know if it's just my phobia. So maybe some of you do not have that phobia. As it is lifting, you are feeling it. And the small aircraft, friends, when it is turning, you feel it. Especially when it's about to land, when it is making those circles around, you really feel it turning. You actually bend or whichever side it is turning. And the most scary thing, I think, that I've observed is the landing. With as it does that touchdown, it shakes sideways, and sometimes it has to go up a bit, then come down again. So the first time I was on one, that is Proflight, I had that phobia. That is the small one. So as we were flying, we were almost landing, and they announced that we are about to land. So lucky, I was with this man. Some of you may know him. He's a prominent business person in Central Province, Mr. Matthew Mohan. You can actually search for him. He actually posts some good personal development content. So when he started saying something which really amazed me, he asked the air hostess and to say, "Who is our pilot?" I didn't get the name of the captain today. Then the hostess responded that no, it's Captain Koppel. Captain Koppel is one of the famous pilots in Proflight. And then the man was like, "Oh, this is awesome. We are going to have a good landing." And when we landed, it was as smooth as if we were on maybe a Boeing 737 or 787. It was a very awesome touchdown, nothing like shaking sideways and the like. And then people applauded, they clapped for him. And then I now started asking, who is this couple? Then Mr. Matthew after responded to say he is one of the best pilots in Zambia, who is currently with Proflight. He knows his way such that whenever his name is mentioned, people know that they have a safe landing. Even when it is windy, I don't know how, but he knows how to balance the air. He knows how to balance the plane with the air such that you have that awesome landing. So what do I want you to get from that? It is how you differentiate yourself. Everyone is a pilot, but what is going to stand out about you? Everyone is becoming a doctor. What is going to stand out about you? Everyone is becoming an accountant. Everyone is becoming a biomedical scientist, a police officer, a soldier, or whatsoever career. But what is standing out about you? That is very critical. That is very critical. So as we look at and project that case market, trust me, you are all going to reach the market with your degrees. with your diplomas, and most especially you guys that are doing medicine. I'm sure you are all aware that medicine is not graded. There will be nothing like this one graduated with a distinction and a merit. You will all reach the market the same with your degrees, a degree not labeled with any merit of graduation. What is going to stand out about you? That is what is going to help you in that scarce market. Such that when people say, who is on call? No, it's Kalenga. Say, okay, patients will be attended to quickly today. No, patients are safe today. That is what should be able to be attacked on you. You should brand yourself. Be critical. Be intentional about branding yourself. Be critical. You see, when it comes to the words, I may not be the most sharp student. I'm winding up. My time is up. I may not be the smartest student. I may not be the wisest student. And trust me, even when I was rotating as a student on the wards, I never used to be the president. That time when I'm rotating on the wards, I am a student. But something that would always stand out is my leadership qualities. Okay, my leadership qualities. Even when there is an issue, a doctor is upset with us, people will say, Cartwright, go and talk to that. So my leadership qualities, which I have incorporated with good communication skills, always stand out. And trust me, even with the organizations that I'm working with, that I have worked for, when it comes to writing, communicating, they will always, most of the time, they will say, Cartwright, can you work on this so that we communicate this issue? Something that will always stand out about me, about the work that I do. So that is it, colleagues, about this scarce market. The scarce market is there, but just improve on your skills. Be innovative, be creative, connect, please, with the right people. Have a mentor, people that are going to speak in your life, people that you are going to be open with and say, okay, A plus B is like this. Can you help me like that? Yeah, and these are things that really are going to help you when you reach that scarce market, so that you are marketable for employment. So since we are talking about that job market, scarce market, I was intentional to reduce my talk, or rather to avoid talking about business. I know there's creativity and innovation, but I wanted to limit that so that we talk about the aspect of employability. I know there is the innovativeness and the creativity of starting your own businesses, but my focus today is about your employability potential. And I hope from the little things that I've shared, you have picked something that is going to help you shape yourself for that scarce job market. Thank you so much, and I hand over to the moderator.
Thank you very much, Doc, for that well put presentation. You know, if you could pick up what Microsoft Word, and many other times that we shun these various skills that we can gain along the way, and by that I mean along our academic journey, or even in society. Many of the times that we think, well, as opposed to me sitting down and really understanding what goes on in graphics design or web design, as it were, I would rather just wait for me to go to school and develop that degree in accountancy, the diploma in finance, or even engineering, as it were. You know, from here, I'm sure we've learned one thing, and that one thing is that innovation is the way to go. At this moment in time, I will invite questions from each and every one of us, as is always the case. So if you have questions, you can kindly type them in, and I'll be able to read them out. One thing that our presenter for today put out that I am greatly, proud of, is the fact that developing yourself and placing yourself in a position that makes you outstanding from each and everyone else. Because, I mean, since the beginning of time, competition has always been there. And what differentiates one person from the other, irrespective of their field? He gave an example of the pilot there. is really how much attention you pay to your craft, and how dedicated you are with regards to that specific craft. And another aspect that he alluded to was with regards to innovativeness, and exploring other ventures. He talked about drivers who lost their jobs after they were not needed at their places of work. Allow me to bring this to your attention. Elon Musk has a degree rather, in economics, but currently is running the biggest company. Well, it goes without saying that we all know that, Tesla and all the companies owned by Elon Musk are not entirely inclined, or do not have a strong inclination to economics. That shows you a lot with regards to how being innovative and really placing yourself in a position where you're creative with whatever it is that you have presented, in front of you. A question has come through, and this one really is with regards to developing skills and, developing yourself personally. So, to our presenter, the question is, how does one position themselves, for proper personal development while keeping in mind their careers? So, in a nutshell, the question is with regards to, how do I develop myself with my career, with regards to these skills that are coming along the way? How do I know that these skills will promote my career path? That's what the question is all about. How do I, find skills that will promote my career path?
Okay, that's a very good question. I'll give an example of I'm a medical doctor, so apologies, but I'll refer mostly to my career line. You see, you will do your 7 or 6 years of training. Never a time will you ever be taught how to manage a hospital. It's never in the curriculum. You will do your 7 years and you will find that emergency care, where you learn about issues, for example, just the protocol on how you in critical care. Those are some of the things that you may not be privileged to learn, even as a medical doctor. So you have to be at a place where you look at how marketable you will be. What do I mean? For example, as a medical doctor, we are saying that there is a scarce job market. You know that there are football clubs here in Zambia. Don't you think while you are studying, you can do a course, a short course that is related to sports? Emergency care in sports. Such that when you are done with your... I'm saying this because there is one of our colleagues who just graduated and has been working with, I don't know if it's Forest Rangers or Power Dynamos, as the team doctor. So those are some of the things that you have to look at. So if I am getting your question well, so developing yourself whereby you are standing out in line with your career. So there are certain things, especially when it comes to skills, that are unforgivable if you do not have them. Literally unforgivable. So those are things that you must start pursuing now. And another thing, let me just make mention is that...
Sorry, before you go any further...
I recently graduated, but I have... today I was just checking my email. I have over 6 acceptance letters for my master's. Yes?
Yes, you talked about skills that are unforgivable. Sorry to cut you short. I'm sure...
Yes.
I'm just as eager as everyone else. Kindly give an example of these skills that each and every person must have.
Awesome. Okay, great. The number one this time around in this day and age is public speaking.
People have lost let me start it from the grassroots. People have lost girlfriends, have lost potential wives because they don't have the vibe in their mouths to speak. This is an essential skill that is unforgivable. Don't say, I'm an introvert, I'm not a public speaker. Just the way you've mentioned it, that is the same way you are losing your value. So that is one critical skill that is unforgivable for you not to have. No wonder even in school it is a prerequisite that you have to make presentations. Public speaking is one of those unforgivable skills. The other one is skills related to ICT. That is number one, social media management. Then I won't talk about web development because it is quite critical, something that I'm also learning currently. So when it comes to ICT related, you have to know how to use social media. For example, some people have never even used Instagram. Okay, you've never used it, but you have to know how to use it. You've never used Telegram. Okay, fine, but you have to know how to use it. For you, you just know Facebook. Even WhatsApp, you don't know the different things, how you can come up with a business account and the like. Those things are unforgivable because you may be a medical doctor, you may be an accountant, and you are put in that marketing department. You'll be very unproductive. So ICT and public speaking, which also incorporates issues of communication, those are unforgivable skills. But in this day and age where we are moving, you just have to make sure that you have a driving license. That one you must have. Those are some of the skills that you are quite unforgivable. And as you get your driving license, make sure that you also know how to change a tire for a car. People have missed contracts because their tire was flat, they have a tire in the back and they couldn't change. Whether you are a lady, please, you have to know how to change a tire for your car. Yes, those are some of the unforgivable skills. So I was mentioning to say about personal development. I graduated recently, but today when I was checking my email, I think this is the 6th acceptance letter that I have for my master's. Some of the programs I've applied for, I've just applied so that I'm accepted. If at all there will be any chance for me to go and study, I will go. Not just that, I also have 2 scholarships for my master's. And trust me, I cannot take them now because I'm busy, because they are all foreign, one in Bolivia, the other one in Norway. I cannot take them. Why? Because I am quite busy. But then I'm at a place where I have it. In case anything was to happen, I simply take them up. The other thing, some of you in here, I don't know what is, let me just be plain, I don't know what is wrong with you. You are already 18 years and above and you do not have a passport. Please, that is one of unforgivable things. Go and get a passport. You may be called urgently to travel. We don't want to say, no, give me 2 weeks to get a passport. No, you need to have a passport. I got mine in 2015. I never traveled until I don't know when. I stayed with a blank passport, I think, for 4 or 5 years. Yeah, so get a passport. Thank you.
Wonderful. Get a passport. All right. Simfuko Mopalo asks, being an academician, would you say it is all right for someone to just focus on improving mainly his or her academic route and performance with the intentions of ending up with, in brackets, master's or a PhD, minus adding in the other skills you've spoken about? I'm sure that's one thing you've cleared out in your response to my previous question. John asks about marketing yourself. What is the most effective way to do so, and what are some of the ways that have worked for you personally?
Okay, great. For the previous question, I think that other question I tackled it when I was responding to the previous question. So just to add on that one, don't put all your eggs in one basket. As you focus to grow your career, to improve yourself, you must make sure that there are other skills that have probability to put food on your table. Okay, when it comes to marketing myself, it is critical. Um, what I've noticed with a lot of people is that there is this aspect of branding themselves wrongly for purposes of numbers, whereby you brand yourself, but when we ask you to deliver, you fail to do so. Okay. So I think I'm also glad that I've seen one of my students that my first class that I taught pharmacology, that should be, if I'm correct, that should be Mwene. I've seen him in class. So when I was teaching these guys, I was lecturing pharmacology, the clinical medicine students. Somebody had me teach. You see, when I even presented results in the Senate, it was the first time that students had ever performed that well in pharmacology. So how did I market myself? Firstly, the students, the people that I interact with, were able to appreciate my works, not only the boss who employed me. So there is what we call stage management. So there are people who are just focused on managing the stage without managing the backstage. So where you show yourself as okay, let me not mention that for now. Okay, so where you portray a certain picture that you are not. Marketing yourself is not falsifying. It is just being intentional on making the public or your market know who you are. So I was giving an example. When I lectured this, the first class I lectured in clinical pharmacology, somebody heard me teach. Somebody got reviews from the students I was lecturing. My second job as a lecturer, I never applied. I received a call, it was on a Thursday evening, and they said, no, we want a lecturer in obstetrics and gynecology. We've heard A plus B about you. Would you come through to the university tomorrow? And that was on a Thursday evening, 7 hours I was there. And because they wanted, they were offering me a job, I made sure I wrote an application. I prepared my CVs and all my documents, my degree and the like. Then I reached the director's office, presented those documents. The director never even looked at those documents. He just phoned the secretary and said, can you prepare a contract for Dr. Libanda? So then, afterwards, I was now thinking, what made this director not even to look at my documents? What made this director call me, somebody that we've never talked before, to say there is a job for you, when there are other people who've been in the market with more qualifications than I am? So it is about how I marketed myself, firstly, with the people that I interact with firsthand. So it is not when you interact with me or people who interact, I post a lot, okay, not really a lot, but I share quite a number of articles on social media. There are people who know me from social media. They may say, oh, Cartwright is like this, no, Cartwright is wise. But if they interact with the people in my circle, are they going to have the same review? This is what I mean. Are they going to have the same review if they interact with the people, for example, my girlfriend or just any of the friends in my circle? Are they going to get the same thing that, no, Cartwright is this and that? So how I market myself out there is what I am working on. And even the people in my circles, those are the things that they should be able to see. So what really helped me, in conclusion, responding to that question, is about being real and working on myself, improving myself as I improve my image. Yeah, so you improve yourself, then you improve your image. Don't just work on the image without working on yourself. That is falsifying, and sooner or later you'll be identified and you will crumble.
Wonderfully put. Do not falsify. Build a reputation that will speak for you. Because I mean, we're not building to crumble, anyways. All right, would love really want to go on with the questions, but unfortunately, time does not allow. Dr. Libanda, in a few words, and just to wrap up. All right, let me just read one more question from John, and then you'll be wrapping up. About developing your CV, just how significant is this for students in this day and age, and how well can we manage this aspect of developing our CV and manage academics? I'm sure even when we talk about our CVs, it doesn't only go for students, as it were. It goes for everyone else. So how important is it to develop this CV?
Life has become brutal, colleagues. Life has become brutal. You see, let me be quick on this one. If you go to, you see that in Zambia, we think we pride in having a better economy than Zimbabwe, right? But if you are ever at Kenneth Kaunda, our international airport in Lusaka, you have a lot of space to move around. There are very few people you are going to meet. But colleagues, can you go to Harare, Robert Mugabe International Airport? It doesn't even look so nice, but the population there, people are zealous. People are, what word do I want to use? Okay, I'll tell you about that word. But what I simply mean is that people are zealous about doing what should be done. Even young people, they are traveling, going for businesses. But in Zambia, we are quite relaxed. Okay, so I want to let you know that even as a student, can you be zealous enough to improve yourself? What I'm talking about, sorry, I'm referring so much to myself because I want you to learn from my life. When I became president for the School of Medicine in my 4th year, in my 5th year, I became, I got a position in that is the Federation of Medical Students Association, FAMSA, when it was actually in its inception. Not in Zambia, but I got a position for East Africa, that is Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Tanzania. I was actually the capacity building secretary there. My role was to train leaders and improve their leadership skills. And trust me, what gave me that position was my CV as a student. Usually, those days in FAMSA, such positions would maybe be given to capacity building positions would be given to someone maybe who graduated or an expert in that field. But I was able to get that position, and I was leading about 4 countries in capacity building. So, developing your CV is critical. And I also want to end with this. Can you start researching on the MasterCard Foundation? Can you also start looking into Rhodes scholarships? These are things that you have to start knowing now. When you are applying to get a scholarship for your master's degree, they want to look at your CV as a student, not at that time. While you are still a student, what were you doing? The leadership positions you held, some of your achievements, those are critical for you to be able to get that. And in some of them, they actually go as far back as secondary school. They want to know what you did in JETS, your leadership capacities while you were in secondary school. So don't think that the time is not yet there. Now is the time. You have to improve your CV, and it is critical for a lot of future endeavors. It is also critical for many opportunities that you are going to have ahead of you. So trust me, CV issues is very critical, and you have to improve your CV starting now. Just like if you are a leader in A plus, add it to your CV. Be unapologetic about it. Even if you were chosen, for now you may not have so much to put. Even if you were put as class rep, can you put it in your CV and put when it's on the part of achievements? By the way, you must be able to know how to write a resume and a CV. Those are different things, eh? I'm sure some of you think it's the same thing, a resume and a CV. Chai, those are different things. One day I'll talk to the leadership so that we learn on important documents, how to write an application, a resume, a CV, a cover letter, such things. I can help you guys so that you are already ready for scholarships. And I'm sure I'm also going to connect you to some of the scholarships you can have right now, and even as you are done, even some of the leadership roles that you can take. But that is for later discussion. Yeah, so colleagues, CV is very important. Can you add all those things? And I'm sure with time you are going to have a lot of big things on your CV. I was submitting my CV for something I'm applying for a few days ago. And do you know what happened? I was removing things because now full up a CV. The courses I have done, I was like, these, let me at least just put maybe 9. The leadership positions I've had the serious ones, I've had over 13. And I was like, ish, they will be tired. So let me just put maybe 6, 7 and the like. So it is important. Yeah, thank you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Libanda, for that insightful discussion. Simfkomapalo says Madifina Tata. And yeah, it goes without saying that everyone else agrees with that sentiment. It's an aspect and an important aspect of life that we need to take seriously and develop with keen attention. I'm sure, definitely without doubt, we'll be bringing you on for another discussion with regards to personal development or issues related to that. Ladies and gentlemen, I would really, really love for this to go on and on, but as has always been the case from the first day we started, even up to this moment, all our sessions have been recorded and will be published on our Facebook pages. Sorry, YouTube channel rather, not Facebook. But yeah, talking about Facebook, you can always follow our Facebook page and keep the conversation going on there. At this moment, allow me to call upon the foundation president to give a few remarks, and then after that, I'll come to wrap it up.
Wow. Thank you so much, Doc, for the insight and the offloading that has taken place tonight. Before I can continue, please raise a hand if I'm audible. I hope I'm audible enough. Great. All right. Thank you so much, Doc, for delivering in the way that you have. When I went to talk to Dr. Cartwright about the foundation and also, having him come and do a presentation with us, I was so excited about his excitement as well, and how willing he's been just to come through and and deliver to us and just be a blessing to us in the way that he's been. And just like Jack has said, we would definitely love to learn more from him and just see how best we can be able to improve. Because like Jack always says, it goes without saying that the world is becoming rough, and it's of cardinal importance that really we find ways and means to personally develop and improve as the A+ student community. And so thank you so very much to everyone that managed to join in. Please let's ensure that we invite others to come through. I can imagine just how much I've been impacted today